chocolate making is certainly a balance between an art and a science. I mean, even if we get to the chef level, there's a level of tempering and making sure that everything is in just the right balance between the fats, between the beans. Turning these beans, cacao beans, into chocolate itself is a very interesting process. And now it's something that the chocolate world is very particular about. And there is a certain purveyor of chocolates, small batch artisan chocolates called Mast, founded by the Mast brothers. And they have made certain claims about their technique being revolutionary. They're the first ones to do this. It's their own special way of going bean to bar. And some people in the food world, the chocolate world, are calling them frauds. The Milli Vanilli of chocolate, which is a very strong thing to say. So I know you're very particular about chocolate, Meredith.
Okay, so as somebody who can't even melt chocolate and then remold it, I like to consume a lot of good chocolate. And I was raised, as I often say, by wild Brits, and I have a great appreciation for chocolate of the world. And I do find it amazing that America is now just catching on to this whole like, oh, cool, we can have gourmet chocolate that isn't just soybean, milk, and butter, and that we can actually ground our own beans and make our own chocolate that isn't just a bunch of junk in it. So I applaud anyone who's trying to go this movement. And I've had several of Mast Brothers chocolates. I'll be honest, I've never been particularly impressed by them. They're not fantastic at all. Some of my favorite chocolate bars right now come from Hawaii or Venezuela. European chocolates are a little too sweet for me. But yeah, I think it's, okay, first off, I just have to say, I think this is like one of the most bougie, ridiculous conversations for people to get upset about. But it's the food world. Let's just be very honest. People like to get upset about the most ridiculous things.
Well,
but
it's a level of ownership.
It is.
It's a level of
and
perhaps lying.
It is. And the thing is, if the Mast Brothers have been buying pre-made chocolate in which they're melting down and claiming as bean to bar, that is completely unethical.
This is an allegation, by the way, from Scott from DallasFood.org. He will not give out his last name due to having a career outside of the chocolate world. A lot of this, what we're talking about, also comes from Megan Giller of Slate.com.
Yeah. So if any of these allegations are true, it's just a bad move, because what's going on is the Mast Brothers are of course denying everything, and if at some point, even in the beginnings, they did buy some things and used a blend, it's guys, it's okay. If you're experimenting, you're learning, you're trying to figure out this process, everyone has to start somewhere. And just come out and admit it. Like the new media world, it's a lot harder to hide things. But it's also, here's the thing, like some of these allegations say that they've come out and said in the beginning, but I'm not seeing any proof.
Well, let's go through this a little bit step by step for those who are not familiar. So they started selling chocolate sometime between 2007 and 2008 with this way that they claimed was their specific bean to bar. We're the ones processing these cacao beans and turning them into chocolate. It does not have the industrial chocolate taste. Though some people said it kind of does. They can't find evidence of this, but people have alleged that these two brothers had claimed that they were using someone else's chocolate and melting it down, which is considered sacrosanct in this world. Had an overly refined, smooth texture, trademark of industrial chocolate, said Aubrey Lindley, the co-owner of Especially Chopped Cacao in Portland, Oregon. And people are saying, this is a very hipster story. I'm realizing this now. That it didn't taste right, and that they were melting someone else's chocolate down, and then saying we're making attempts to do this, but then someone else pointed out you can't have a gluten-free bakery and then say, oh, we're attempting to be gluten-free.
Yeah.
So there's that problem. There's also another issue with claiming to be the first people to do this.
In
but
the
we
US,
also
and
have
they're not.
Amano, founded in 2006, Patrick, 2006, Taza, 2005, who appeared before.
Yeah.
And then we also have a strange change that happened after 2008, which is that the chocolate started to taste more different, muddy, gritty, different texture. And at this point, something may have changed.
Well, and there's also, look at the ingredients. The ingredient list, they start to use the soybean, the butter, the typical, like, this is the stuff that's used in most industrial chocolates. It's on their ingredient list that I'm kind of like, oh, well, maybe they are using some blends. And maybe that's bad in the hipster chocolate world, but I just...
The hipster chocolate world.
You know, and I can be a hipster about a lot of things. Coffee being one of them. Chocolate. I like good chocolate. I don't eat Hershey's. I'm sorry. I just can't anymore.
Okay, here's the deal. I just don't like
I don't like lying.
this lack of attribution.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Everyone gets help with things. And then there's this point in 2008, 2009 where it started to taste different. And they were pictures of their kitchen showed a specific mill that was being used and touted by John Nancy from Chocolate Alchemy.
Yeah.
And then there's this claim that we did this ourselves.
And they're not crediting anyone. I mean, that's
But I think that's John. If you had said, you know, this is his mill, and yes, we did do this at first, but then we developed our own style, that would be fine. But then there's also this the audacity of claiming all these things that don't seem to be true, and it also after a while their kitchens were closed off to people.
That's not very hipster of them to not give credit. No, I think, and that's the real story here. That's the real problem is that, like, you know, who cares how you make your damn chocolate? But at the end of the day, like, don't lie.
People do care, though. A lot of sales go back to the story of how this was made. Like, oh, I want to know that this guy left his 6-7-figure job to make chocolate bars, and then I'll pay $10 for a bar of chocolate. People do care about the story. Look at any singing show. You think you can win that without a sob story? You're wrong, mister.
Totally the person
so
who
people
buys
actually do care about how things are made, or the root of how things get made. So when we lie about how things get made, it puts a severe damper on it.
I know. They're ruining their own brand.
Authenticity matters, and it does seem like, I mean, they have argued to the opposite degree, which is this is ridiculous. These are lies. It's not really a conversation. It's really dismaying, I would say. I mean, I don't really care about chocolate, but I do care about forming a true opinion and thought. And
I agree.
I don't like this lack of attribution, personally.
I agree.
Okay, I do like chocolate somewhat.
Yeah, you're gonna get a lot of hate in the comments for that one, Kim.
Okay, I like chocolate. Don't kill me. But yeah, I think the real problem here is the lack of attribution, and it's kind of something that we see a lot in, I think, particularly on the internet, which is we see people. Well, there's that comic of somebody holding an acorn and looking at someone else going, "I made this," and they say, "You made this?"
Yeah.
And they leave. The first person leaves, and then they're holding the acorn, and they go, "I made this." Yeah. So, you know, I mean, on this show too, we do our best to attribute everything that we get from a different source.
Yes.
And it's just no one really. I mean, most people don't get there without any kind of reference or study or help, and it's important that we do that.
It is. Acknowledge where you come from. Acknowledge the help that you get along the way, and you'll go a lot further.
There you go, audience. What do you think of this chocolate? Have you tried it? And what do you think of this journey that we've gotten so far? It's kind of controversial. Let us know below in the comments, and please like and subscribe for more.